he uses that term hermeneutics of suspicion. It's kind of Nietzsche, Freud, Marx, maybe one or two other kind of German philosophers, modern philosophers have kind of helped us question things in some way, but kind of also society has come into this sort of radical questioning of everything, and it's not just questioning, it's more like a doubting. And so for instance, we seem not to really even believe in the value of beauty anymore, except in the literal value of like attracting someone or selling someone or something like that. um you and I were talking about how art and architecture tends not to be beautiful. That's not a sophisticated thing. That's not an important thing for art to be. It has to just shock you, has to express the individuality, the uniqueness, the originality of the artist or the movement or whatever, has to transgress some tradition or traditional value in some way. And that's where the value is. It's not in beauty. So there's this, yeah, the hermeneutics of suspicion seems to be something where, yeah, we're kind of suspicious of everything. We don't trust authoritative accounts. This obviously has gone on even more in recent years with COVID and conspiracy thinking and all that kind of thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested in it's an ongoing question for me what you're talking about in regards to like art. I went to art school in the 90s, 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s for college, and then my ex-girlfriend was getting her master's at an art school here in the Northwest. This would have been the late, when was that? The mid 2010s, somewhere in there.
mm,
So, we were still together at the time, and um, I still wish her all the best. I think she's a great artist, but in her cohort of fellow, MFA candidates, there were people doing art that was very conceptual. Um, and and her work, I think, was we sort of broke up midway through, so I don't want to speak to her whole journey because I don't know what it was. But my understanding of it was like they were encouraged to be kind of more conceptual, like, well, what's the idea behind, and it becomes almost like a visual philosophy, philosophy meaning in a sort of a pejorative sense, in that it's just like you're building these ideas and then you make a physical thing to represent them, and people are supposed to get your ideas by looking at the physical thing, but
yeah,
there's no sense of beauty. There's no sense of conveying something that is inherently stimulating to some part of our nervous system that isn't just our intellectual brain.
yeah,
It narrows the window down to just appealing to the intellectual brain. Um, and I think that's kind of a sad thing for art to be moving in that direction. And then you mentioned
yeah,
architecture, and like, oh my God, I'll just complain about that for a minute. Of like, most modern buildings are so ugly. They're just these blocky, dark, like there's no I don't understand. Like, I'm not an architect. I didn't go to architecture school. The little bit of architecture students that I knew in college were worked to the bone. They were exhausted. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Um, but like, surely somebody wants to make something look good. I guess maybe they don't want to pay for it, the construction companies. I'm thinking, like new buildings being built around the city. Obviously, there are still very interesting, like if you're building like a new gallery, or you're building like, I don't know, like the Obama thing, presidential center that got built in Chicago. You could argue whether or not that's beautiful or ugly, but somebody clearly tried to make it something. It's not just a square block. They're trying to do something with it.
hmm,
So leaving politics and that particular object aside, just those kind of objects, those kind of structures are still being built.
hmm,
But when it comes to like the new, housing, the new apartment building, they're dude, it's so dead. There's no life to them at all. There's no thought behind them. There's no sense of wanting to make them appealing to the eye in any way. It's almost like the value for that is we're blind to it at this point. It's like we're almost like colorblind, but beauty blind in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, we don't try to make things beautiful. There's no ornamentation. It's minimalist. It's smooth. Yeah, it's just utilitarian. And I
Hmm.
would say, yeah, the you mentioned the Obama library and just other things that are made the sort of, I don't know, the monumental architecture that we have now, as opposed to stuff in the past, is just, yeah, I don't think it, I think it tends to be not only not beautiful, but often very ugly. I mean, just
Hmm.
grotesque to look at. And yeah, it's conceptual. It's supposed to mean all these different things, which maybe you don't get until you hear the long description with lots of, aesthetic terms and everything from the artists themselves. But, it's like,
Hmm. Yeah,
I don't know.
which is interesting because like if you look if you research like older art and architecture especially, a lot of that did have secret messages or implied intent by the artist in it. So that's not, I guess I would say that I'm realizing that's not exactly foreign to art, but the lack of it being anything beautiful is foreign.
Mhm.
That's um, the devaluing of aesthetics as I guess as sort of useless. Like
Yeah.
I guess people just don't care would be my guess is like, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think they have different values. I mean, I think
Hmm.
elites, architect elites, just like all elites, we don't kind of have transcendental values. It's more like we're looking down and back and trying to transgress the past in some way, invert it in some way, or up at beauty and trying to, yeah, comment on it rather than participate in it. Yeah, I just don't think we believe in those things. I mean, yeah, art always has meaning. There's meaning in making something proportional. Or like I think in Japanese palaces, they're like the only Asian uh, country that has non-symmetrical palaces, and there's like meaning there too. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's all and this and the golden mean or whatever. Yeah, and then I thought maybe you meant like even Freemason type of little secret society kinds of stuff. I mean, there's definitely that kinds of stuff, but it's still within the framework like literature can be of still being beautiful, having certain, I don't know, beauty principles like proportionality or some kind of natural rhythm or something kind of coming out, some kind of harmony kind of along with all that other stuff. And I think we don't believe in that. We believe in shockingness, personal expression. We uphold the artist as kind of a godlike kind of figure. And yeah, transgressing kind of suppose common tastes or the past or something like that. It's always, you know, when you see reviews even of movies, it's always edginess, uniqueness, originality, expressiveness. Those kinds of words are valued. But you'll never, I don't think you hardly will ever see some kind of description of art nowadays where they'll talk about harmoniousness or beauty or something that's sort of some kind of synonym for goodness. So I just
Hmm.
don't think that's part of our value system.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm thinking like I'm thinking to myself like, okay, if I was, I don't know, if I was making a building, what would I what would I do differently, or how would I feel about it? Or if I was making, a piece of art or whatever, if I was making something,
Mm,
there's there's a certain sense where trying to embellish something with beautiful things feels superfluous or extra work, like to get it right. It feels sort of like, why would I bother?
Mm.
I'm just doing this thing. And so I can kind of understand. It's like the muscle for beauty, or for the desire to make the world beautiful. The desire for beauty is, we're distant from it almost as a culture. Like we don't have enough of the sense of beauty in ourselves to understand why it's important.
Please like and subscribe for more of our open-minded content, and comment below on your thoughts or questions about the story. Let us know if you'd like us to cover another stimulating story, and thank you for participating.